So this is a heat of the Hambleden Pairs Trophy between the Washington Huskies. Over on that far side of the picture, Shakira Mirfin and Maddie Frampton. And they are racing, you can see them on the right of your screen, Jean Mitchell and Georgie Gleeson, a selected crew from Australia. Not quite the crew that was entered, I think slightly different crew than the one that was entered. I think it was entered with Ellie Price initially, and so Georgie Gleeson I think has come in. I think if memory serves, she was bowing the Australian women's quad that finished 4th place, I'd like to say, in Poznan. So the Australians having to change their crew around, but it is Australia leading at this point of the race, Kath.
Yeah, it's a squad, isn't it? They're over here training at the moment in Europe, and you know they're still shuttling some of the crews and learning lots. You know, it's still that part of the kind of Olympiad, although Paris isn't that far away. There's still lots of kind of testing and trying to work out combinations. And you know, I think we're seeing today that this combination of Mitchell and Gleeson are looking pretty good together. You know, really quite coherent in terms of the timing. The boat isn't twitching too much. You often see that in a pair, that if the timing isn't quite there, it'll twitch a lot. But you know, both crews actually steered a super tight, kind of straight, pretty much a straight line. But you know, there is, you can see over with Mirfin and Frampton, a lot more twitching per stroke. The power isn't just being applied in quite the same way as we see in the Australians. The power curves are much more aligned in that Australian crew. We can't quite see that. It feels a bit more battled. The balance isn't quite there with Mirfin and Frampton. And this water tests you in a pair, and it will pull you apart if you don't have your technique sorted. Being
a world champion in a pair back in 2003, when you look at a women's pair now, what goes through your head, Catherine?
Oh, envy. I want to be doing it. But actually also just the joy of it. You know, the joy of when a pair is going well, when you're applying power and you've got that real kind of balance between you, balance in terms of the power curves in the water, the movement between. And look at that shot there. We've got great length, really relaxed, you know, not kind of over yanking the finish at all, but getting out, getting the catches in, and then sort of pushing back. That's real sort of, you know, one of Tomo's favourite, Paul Thompson, who's of course back coaching with the Australian team. I don't know if he spent a lot of time with this crew or not, but he would always be telling us to kind of get it in sharp at the front, don't over pull the back, because you're not creating boat speed at that point.
So you heard it there from Kath Bishop, 2003 world champion in the Coxless Pairs, Olympic silver medalist just 1 year later. And we're looking at the two Huskies there. Huskies, the nickname for Washington, if you didn't know already. Shakira Mirfin up in the bow seat from Invercargill, New Zealand. She won a gold in Tokyo in 2019 when they had the junior championships there. And Maddie Frampton rode in the second varsity 8 for Washington. Native of Washington State. That's their opposition to the Australians. I think they might be coached by Ellen Randall, who coaches a lot of the Australian women's crews. Not absolutely 100% sure of that, but I think she'll be pretty pleased anyway, being part of the coaching team with what she's seeing.
Yeah, it was a tough call, wasn't it, for the Washington crew, for Mirfin and Frampton to come up against two, you know, really impressive Australian international athletes. Look at that, we can see great power going down there, real smoothness in how they're applying the power. You can't over muscle it if you're in the pair, you can't bash it around, or it'll really kind of, you know, you'll pay for that. So getting some good efficiency, some good run between the strokes. And on this water, you have to learn. You have to learn how to race a pair when it's this kind of wobbly underneath you. And so there'll be a lot of learning for, you know, what's still a new combination with Mitchell and Gleeson for the later rounds, when they may well get tested a lot further.
Yeah, I mean, they're just youngsters. Mitchell is just 22 years of age and Georgie Gleeson 23. Should mention that Jean Mitchell rose for Melbourne University Boat Club in Victoria, and her partner Georgie Gleeson rose for Sydney University Boat Club, and there is a lot of rivalry between those institutions. I guess it's like someone from Oxford and someone from Cambridge here rowing together in the same combination, but they're all part of the same Australian team now.
Once you get in the national team colours, then that unites you in a whole different way. And of course, the Australian 8 did well in that first World Cup. So of course they came third there. The Australian 8, probably disappointed, I think, with Tokyo.
Yeah.
They finished 5th. and you know they're trying to still find a way to get back amongst the medals at Paris.
I thought that Australian 8 was a better crew than the 5th place crew, actually. I'm not sure they were that disappointed with their row in Sydney. I think they could have gone a bit quicker, but a couple of the women back in the Australian 8 this year at Poznan in that World Cup where they finished 3rd. It's good to see them on the podium, but you can see the finish line in the distance there.
Just letting that boat run, they brought the rate right down, and now they get the appreciation from the crowds. Supreme row there.
Mitchell and Gleeson come up to the finish line. They take the win in this heat of the Hambleden Pairs Challenge Cup. Lovely little village, Hambleden. If you haven't been there, go and check it out. It's just outside of Henley. And Shakira Mirfin and Maddie Frampton, well, their regatta is over. Now the 2 Washington athletes. Confirmation of that result, Mitchell and Gleeson beat Mirfin and Frampton.